Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Bridget Quinn. I'm the president and CEO of the Hartford Public Library, and I apologize for my voice. I'm fine. I'm just experiencing a little seasonal allergy laryngitis, so please bear with me. I'm so excited to welcome you here today. This is an event and years and years and years in the making, with so many people to thank to make this possible and to celebrate with us today. And just a brief history of how we got here. In 2019, the board of the Hartford Public Library approved a 5-year capital plan that identified a library to replace the current Barbour Street Library branch, which is right across the street in Unity Plaza, as its #1 priority. In early 2020, before the world changed, conversations about potential sites for the new library were underway with the city of Hartford. And by the spring of 2020, community engagement, despite the challenges of a global pandemic, commenced, and over several months, a plan emerged that made sure a new library was going to be constructed in the 06120. Over the years, this project has seen setbacks and challenges, and that's an understatement, but the commitment has never wavered, and the end goal has never changed: to design and create a new library with and for the residents of this community that will inspire, engage, and delight, that will reflect the immense creativity and spirit of the people who live in the neighborhood, and be a destination for young people, families, job seekers, elders, artists, learners, teachers, everyone. Today, many of the people who have made this possible, and as I said, it takes lots and lots of people to make a project like this possible, are here to celebrate. In just a few minutes, you will hear from the Speaker of the House, Matt Ritter, Representative Marianne Kahn, Hartford Mayor Arunan Arulampalam, HPA Board Chair Karen Taylor, Barbour Street Task Force Chair Steve Harris, and of course, Helen Nixon. Our very special guests. Yeah. I would like to acknowledge and thank the additional people who have made today possible, and my apologies if I have forgotten anybody, because as I said, there's so many people to thank. Our Barbour Street Task Force, many of whom are here today, our former HPL Board Chair David Barrett, former Mayor of Hartford Luke Bronin, Silver Petroselli, Chris Nardi and team, Margaret Sullivan Studios, Margaret Tina and team, Downs Construction, our colleagues at the City of Hartford who have been stalwart supporters and partners in this, especially Department of Development Services, Chief Operating Officer's Office, and Corporation Counsel, and Anwar Ahmed, who at the early stages of this project was integral in making sure we had the appropriate level of community engagement, robust community engagement. And my colleagues, Mary T., Marie Jerry, Carl Fisher, Gina Federico, Jess Emmons, Bonnie Solberg, the entire Barbour Street team, whose new branch manager, Shannon Strickland, is here with us today. So happy to introduce Shannon. Give a wave, Shannon. Facilities, maintenance, IT, and of course, Nelson, who is just indescribable and amazing. Thank you, Nelson. And everyone at the library who contributed to the planning and design review. Of course, our community partners and our neighbors, Food Share, the Hartford Public Schools, Knox Farm, Mount Moriah Church, H.A. Johnson. Everybody in this community has come together to help us plan and make sure that this will be a resource, a destination, a beacon for the community as a community center. So with that, please help me welcome Speaker of the House, Matt Ritter.
All right, a challenge to all the speakers. It's hot, so be brief and be good, okay? I just will say that the Hartford Public Library, about a year ago, we opened reopened a soft reopen to the downtown branch, which had been plagued by fires, floods, all the biblical plagues you could imagine. And to get that reopened was a big deal. But this one sticks out a little bit because, as Ms. Nixon and Mr. Harris reminded me behind me, this is 3 decades in the making. So sometimes what it does is it breeds distrust in government. It makes people think, are people paying attention to the wants and the desires of the community? And that's why what's so fitting about the state support for this project is it grew out of what we call the Community Investment Fund, which was started in 2021 after the pandemic and after sort of the national awakening and moment that we had to do more for our communities. We had to respond better. We had to listen better. We created a whole new bonding program, completely new, that never existed in the state of Connecticut prior to that. The Community Investment Fund is not about politicians from the top down ordering projects to be built. It is about communities coming together and applying for what they think is right and best for their community. It's a bottom-up approach where you get actual true input from task forces and local residents. And we were told this was going to be the anchor for Barbour Street. It goes back to conversations with Mayor Bronin. It goes back to conversations with my very dear friend Brandon McGee, who advocated just as hard for this library and the renovation of Barbour Street. And it carries on today. My good friend Corey Betts is across that street every Wednesday. Wake Up Wednesday with the NAACP Connecticut branch. This is about a start and a vision. And no more broken promises for a library that's been 3 decades in the making. So the state of Connecticut, through the Community Investment Fund, David Barrett, a longtime neighbor of mine who was chair of the public board, and Bridget said, we're $5 million short. And it's not going to happen. The city has no resource to provide for that. And the state delegation, as we always do, we went to bat, we went to work, and that $5 million is the difference between no more library for 10 years and shovels in the dirt today. It's a big day. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to State Representative Miriam Khan, who represents the 5th District, which includes Barbour Street right here. Please help me welcoming State Representative Khan.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few words about the importance of the library. You know, when I came in 4 years ago into this seat, I know that advocates like Steve and Helen in the North End, there were some things that were very evident that it was important to this community. And they made sure that I knew that this library was very important. And I know we went through a few hurdles of figuring out where it's going to go. But to now finally have, in just 4 years that I've been here, watching how the community really has come together to advocate for this has been an honor to watch. And I'm very excited for what this means for the community. Libraries are institutions that serve the community. Children can come here, obviously, after school. Adults can come to use the computers. There's internet access. There's air conditioning, right? So it offers, it's a community hub. And to be able to offer that is a beautiful thing. And then obviously what it means for literacy and what it means for our children's futures. So I'm very excited to support this. And I can't thank the community enough for coming together. And of course, Steve and Helen for really making sure that this was a top project for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Khan. And now I would like to invite the chair of the board of the library to say a few words, Karen Taylor.
The mayor. I will yield the floor.
Go for it.
You sure?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah? Okay, thank you. Very much a gentleman. All right, thank you so much for the introduction, Bridget, and thank you all for braving the heat to be here to celebrate this momentous occasion with us. This neighborhood means a great deal to me personally. So I literally raised my kids a few blocks from here in Still Village. And so for a decade, the Barbour Street Library branch was our community library. So it is an extreme honor for me to be able to speak and represent the library board today. My library board colleagues, both past and present, who have really used their consistency, their persistence, and their optimism to bring this vision to life. I especially want to recognize my predecessor, David Barrett, former library board chair, for his steadfast leadership and continued advocacy for this project through his participation on the Barbour Street Library Task Force. Bridget, her incredible leadership. I mean, we ask so much of her in terms of how she shows up for our programming, for our community. And, you know, we've asked her to take on some additional things around construction and advocacy around this project, and she always rises to the occasion. So thank you so much to Bridget and team, and to Steve and to the task force for getting us here today. This moment is possible because of the commitment of our city leaders, partners, staff, and members who have championed this vision and the many revisions to get us here today. We're excited to finally have construction starting this summer. This groundbreaking is the beginning of a new chapter. We look forward to building a space that reflects our belief in this neighborhood and what is possible for the residents of this neighborhood. It's going to be a beautiful space with robust programming and caring people who will support the learning, connection, and opportunity that will be available to all in the North End of Hartford for generations to come. So thank you all so much for your commitment to this project, and we know that it's going to reflect the intention and the investment that has been put in along the way. Okay. And with that, I will introduce the mayor.
Well, thank you, Karen. Thank you to Bridget. Your voice is failing, but your strength never does, and we appreciate all that you do. To all of the board members and to all of you who are here, most importantly to the community, to Miss Nixon, happy birthday, and Steve Harris. Look, this is a great day for the city of Hartford, and it's a great day for this neighborhood, and it's a day that is about what children deserve, what families deserve. The kids who grow up in this neighborhood, in the 06120, have every ounce of intelligence and potential and capacity as any kid that grows up anywhere in this great country or anywhere across the state of Connecticut. And if you walk into the current Barbour Street branch at Unity Plaza, and I know Speaker Ritter mentioned this, Corey Beth is there every week, but a lot of, he's brought together a lot of community to make sure that there's a community presence at Unity Plaza. But you know, if you walk into that branch, you get great librarians, you get a branch of the best public library in the country, the Hartford Public Library. But the building is not what the kids deserve when they walk in. It's not what families deserve. It does not convey the sense of dignity. It does not convey the temple of education and learning that our library should be. And I don't know how many times I've sat down with Steve Harris and he's told me, you know, Runan, when I was growing up, Barbour Street was a mecca of Black-owned businesses. This was the center. It was a place that gave people hope. And I see Kyle nodding his head in the back. I've heard this from so many community members. And this library is something that gives me hope. My branch, my neighborhood branch is a Park Street branch, which is another branch that took decades to build. And I remember the first time we walked into that branch. I remember how many community members were around. And I thought about all of the generations of young people that missed out on walking into that beautiful branch. This is a commitment that we will not miss future generations of young people. And it's a commitment that started with this library and the city. And I want to acknowledge especially Luke Bronin, who made that commitment on behalf of the city of Hartford. You can applaud that. Luke is not just my predecessor in this role, he was also my predecessor on the board of the library, and he knows what this means. And so the city made a commitment for $9.5 million, and that was about as much as we could with our finances. And so when the library, and Bridget said this, needed another $5 million, they went through the SIF process and they went to the speaker. And Bridget asked me at one point to call the speaker and ask him about the funding. And he said, look, Arunan, if you're calling me about the library, you don't have to worry about it. I've got them covered. And that is the kind of commitment that this speaker has to the city of Hartford. We are very lucky to have a speaker of the House like Matt Ritter from the city of Hartford. And all of these groups came together to make this investment in this place because it is so important, because I believe that Barbour Street is at a turning point. I believe, Steve, that we are working our way back to that mecca. The city's also putting in $1 million into building new small businesses and storefronts on Barbour Street so we can build that dream again. I'm looking across this daycare center, which is, you may not know this, one of the best daycare centers in the city. At a time when a lot of daycare centers are shrinking, this one's growing because they stay early in the morning and they stay late at night and they work around people's schedules. There's so many faith communities and nonprofits and seeds of hope that are building this transformation of Barbour Street. And I'm so excited for the future of that. And I'm so excited to put this stake in the ground. And I appreciate all of you for all of the hard work to get here. Thank you, guys.
And I would, while she's not able to be here today with us, I want to acknowledge the state librarian, Deborah Shander. The State Library Public Library Construction Grant Program has allocated $2 million to this project. So I do want to give a shout out to the state library, obviously part of the entire state network of support that has gone into making sure this project is a reality. Our next two speakers, our final wrap up speakers, because they are the most impactful, are two people without whom this project would not have happened because of the level of advocacy and commitment they have had. And the first person I'd like to invite up is Steve Harris, who was on the board of directors for a number of years and chaired our Barbour Street Task Force. And in my darkest days of when I thought, oh my gosh, is this project really going to happen? Steve said, Bridget, you got this. We're going to make this happen. He made phone calls. He showed up for community meetings. He was just there by my side the whole time. And I can't thank you enough for that level of support and encouragement for me and for this entire project. So, Steve, would you like to say a few words?
As you can see, I'm a little disabled. I just got a major operation. Good morning. As I stand here and I look out amongst us, we've recognized a lot of people, and rightfully so, because they've done a lot of good things for us. But I want to say this. The Hartford Public Library has one of the most enduring, dedicated staffs that I've ever come in contact with. And let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm not a visitor to Hartford. I was born and raised here. 06120, I wear this everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, 06120. When people ask me, what is 06120? I said, that's my zip code. Well, where is it? North Hartford. See, I'm not ashamed to say I live in North Hartford. I was born and raised there, still here, ain't going nowhere. And you know why? Because North Hartford helped raise me. And when you see and hear, as a matter of fact, there's this something about Hartford that's on Facebook all the time, and it just seems to be all this chaos and stuff. What about the good things that happen in North Hartford? So I want to tell you about a few good things that I have experienced. As I said, born and raised here. Served in the Hartford Fire Department for 28 years. Retired, became a state marshal, did that for 15 years. I have been blessed to watch people like Corey Betts grow up, whose uncle helped mentor me. Now, let me tell you about my history with the Hartford Public Library. When I was 7 years old, my mother came up here and brought me to the library. Some of you may not know this, but where that bodega is over there, that was the library. That was the library. Went over there, got me a library card. And I remember when I went to look at books, the first book I pulled out was National Geographic. And you know, when you're like an 8-year-old kid, you know, I'm used to seeing folks here in my neighborhood. And when I opened that National Geographic and I saw people from China, Africa, Mongolia, places like that, it just changed me. It just changed me. And I want to say this, that I am glad that we're going to finally build this library. Because you know what? Our kids deserve the best. Our kids deserve the best. They need to see the best. And we have to be at our best. So I say again, thank you to everybody that helped make this possible. But most of all, thank you to my community members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. And now, Ms. Helen Nixon.
Okay, Steve, I would not be here all day. I told you to let me go. You go first, because if I go before you, I'll be here all day. Okay? Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see so many faces, and I'm thankful to all here today to celebrate this momentous occasion. So a very, very special thank you and a shout out to our state, Matt Ritter, where did he go? Okay, Matt, and to our mayor, and to everyone in our community members, and especially to you, Bridget. I'm especially thankful to Bridget for helping to make this possible. So I am excited today because we have been waiting for approximately 30 years for this library. I remember way back during the 90s, we were walking all over the city, not all over the city, in this neighborhood trying to find space for a library. We were walking up and down Earl Street, all in that area. We never looked at right where we're gonna, not thinking that we're gonna knock down the old Snyder Supermarket, okay? But that was what we did. And thanks to Bridget and her staff for looking at this particular site. We were working a lot, but we never gave up. We never gave up. 30 years later, here we stand with a groundbreaking. 30 years later, God has said, good things come to those who wait. And we did wait. We prayed, we waited, and we still work. And here we are. Our vision is coming true. Our vision. We are doing much more than breaking ground today. We are not just digging dirt for a physical foundation, but we are breaking ground for our future in this community. Steve 06120. We are breaking ground into our future. Okay. This library will be a welcoming space where our community come together to explore new ideas on lifting up our residents to have a better quality of life. And this is what it's all about. Bridget, I'm looking forward to having a coffee shop here. I'm looking forward to having a coffee shop here for getting together. I want to make sure that I throw that out there. And we're realizing that libraries are not only for reading. Libraries are not only for reading, but libraries are for a special social connection, for establishing relationships within the community. And that's what's definitely needed in this particular area. Okay. And I'm excited too, because like I had said to Matt Ritter and different ones we're talking, we're excited because, and I'm going to say it again, I think Matt said don't say it too loud. This is the largest, other than the library downtown, the largest freestanding library in the city of Hartford. And I'm excited because it's going to be right in the midst of the northeast neighborhood 06120. So it's something special that no other part of the city have. And this is the promise zone, Steve. We won't forget that. And we won't let anybody forget that. We were promised about 10 years ago that the feds came in and told us that they designated this area as the promise zone. The promise zone is the neighborhood that has been lagging behind for a long, long time. And that promise zone, that promise to us, where they were going to help us to come up above ground level. So we can all start off on the same ground level. We always have been below ground. Now with this library coming in, they're helping us to break ground into the future. They're bringing us up above ground. So like you're saying, Steve, now we have the opportunity to go and do things together, whatever it takes to make our neighborhood grow and to help our citizens have a better quality of life. So again, I'm just so thankful and proud that we are able to, that promise is being fulfilled today to bring us above ground. So today, Steve, we're going to start off on the same ground level that every other neighborhood in the city is. So we don't have to be still looking for that promise. The promise has already started. And this library groundbreaking, it's not breaking dirt, it's not just much of breaking dirt, but it's breaking our way, a door into our future. So it's not just breaking. When we throw those shelves in the ground, think about this neighborhood is coming up above ground. And we're going into the future as of today. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting this neighborhood. No longer this neighborhood would be the same. And I'm glad I'm having a birthday next week, and everybody's saying that. I'm having a birthday, and I don't mind saying my age at this point. I am going to be 88 years old on May 28th. And I'm having a big birthday party, May 24th, at my house, 19 Sunset Street. I don't mind saying it. 19, you come down the street, you won't see nothing but Helen Nixon. Helen Nixon, okay. So anybody who want to come, you feel free to come and celebrate my birthday with me, because I'm excited. This is one of my birthday gifts, okay, at this library. I've been working forward to this thing for a long time. So I claim it. I claim it as Helen Nixon, and I don't mind saying it. And, you know, I could be a gang leader. I could be a gang leader, because I'm a leader. I'm a leader. When I said that this is my neighborhood, and Steve, although Steve was born and raised here, I was born and raised in the state of Virginia. I came here in 1958, and I came to this neighborhood, 06120, since 1958, and never left, because I saw where it had potential, okay? So anyway, this is my neighborhood, and I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to another year with you guys, and I don't know, when did we say it's gonna open? When are we gonna open?
Before you're 90.
What's that?
Before you're 90.
Before I'm 90. Okay, God bless you all, and thank you again for coming.
Oh, Helen, you're the best. Okay, thank you all for being here, for your commitment to the community's patience and unwavering faith in our ability as all of these people coming together to get this done. So let's get some shovels in the ground, y'all. Here we go.